All right, the preseason opener is upon us as the 49ers and Denver Broncos face off. And Saturday at Levi Stadium, 5:30 p.m., will be seen locally on Channel 5 KPIX. I'm not sure that you should get too excited about seeing any of the regulars, especially for the 49ers. My guess would be that none of the veterans or very few of the veteran starters are out there. So I would not expect to see, and if you do see them, probably won't be much at all, but I wouldn't expect to see Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Trent Williams, the offensive line as a whole, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Diamador Lenore. Those guys got their work in a controlled setting on Thursday against the Broncos. So, when you look at it, the 49ers, from a year ago for using yards, allowed yards gained. The 49ers number 4 offense in the league. The Broncos have the number 7 offense in the league. Or I'm sorry, Broncos had the number 7 defense in the league. Wouldn't expect to see many of those players out there. So we'll talk a little bit about more players I wouldn't expect to see out there, but then we'll kind of switch it to what to expect. So who to watch, all that kinds of stuff for this game on Saturday night. So quarterback situation for the 49ers, again, would not expect to see Brock Purdy play. If he does, not much at all. So a lot of Mac Jones. Also, the 49ers did re-sign Tanner Mordecai. So he joins Carter Bradley on the 49ers 90-man roster. Mordecai takes the spot that was created when Equanimeous St. Brown was placed on injured reserve. So he's out for the season for the 49ers. Also, no Curtis Rourke because he remains on the NFI list. Others you can't expect to see due to injuries. Running back Jordan James, fractured finger for him. Isaac Grindo has the shoulder. So those 2 running backs, at least 3 wide receivers won't be out there. Of course, Brandon Ayuk, he remains on PUP. 49ers not entirely ruling out week 1, but let's go ahead and rule them out week 1. More than likely, Brandon Ayuk will start the season on the PUP list, which would make him ineligible for the first 4 games of the season. So he won't play. Juwan Jennings won't play due to the calf, and we're sticking with that as the calf injury. And then Jacob Cowing has been out since the first practice, warm-ups basically in the first practice with a hamstring injury. 49ers are hoping to get him back on the field next week when they take on the Vegas Raiders on Thursday in a joint practice and then a game Saturday as well. I think the offensive line looks healthy. The only one who won't play is Andre Dillard, free agent pickup, who's still coming back from an ankle procedure in the offseason. And then on the defensive line, a lot of guys out for this game on the defensive line. Michael Williams with his knee, and we'll get an update on Michael Williams after the game tonight from Kyle Shanahan, but he hyperextended his left knee at the time when the on-field diagnosis took place. The 49ers were led to believe that's not a serious injury. So we'll see, probably have a better idea how much time he's going to miss. Yetur Gross-Matos remains out with a knee. He's still on PUP. Kevin Givens is going to miss a lot of time with a pectoral injury. That's going to go into the season. So he'll remain on the 90-man roster until the cuts, the cut down to 53, and then he'll go on injured reserve. Jordan Elliott has a back issue. He's going to be out. Sam Okwanu's out for an extended period with a groin injury, and Evan Anderson has a knee bruise that's going to keep him out too. Chaz Surratt did not play or did not practice on Thursday. Don't know exactly what his situation is. He's a linebacker, special teams guy. Fabian Moreau, also a cornerback that they recently signed. He didn't practice either, so don't know if those guys are going to play. I know for sure Renardo Green won't play with the hamstring injury. Like I said, I wouldn't expect Diamador Lenore to play either. A couple of players from that Thursday practice who were evaluated for concussions and then cleared: Darrell Luter, cornerback, and safety Marquise Siegel. I would assume that they'll play as well. And then the other safeties who won't be on the field, Malik Mustafa remains on PUP as he recovers from the ACL surgery, and then Jair Brown with the ankle injury. Another player, Curtis Robinson, probably won't play. He was removed from the PUP list this past week. Okay, so now let's talk about things to watch. And I'm going to start off with special teams. I think Junior Bergen, he's a guy that the 49ers drafted in the 7th round as a return specialist. He plays wide receiver as well. But with Jacob Cowing being out, Junior Bergen, somebody that Brant Boyer and the special teams coach, by the way, Brant Boyer's son is a kicker at Montana. So he knows a lot about Junior Bergen. 49ers drafted him in the 7th round. So if Bergen is comfortable returning punts and shows some escapability and ability to make big plays, he has a chance to win a spot on the 53-man roster. Remember last year, Jacob Cowing was basically a return specialist. He only played, around 100 snaps on the season on offense. And so, Junior Bergen, especially with Cowing out, has an opportunity to kind of open some eyes and make a run for a roster spot, no doubt about it. And then, of course, the kicker, Jake Moody. I've said it. He's in competition with himself. He was perfect in practice on Thursday, making all 7 of his field goal attempts, including a couple beyond 50. But in a game situation with fans in the stands, there's pressure on him to perform. And he has to regain that confidence and strike the ball well. So Jake Moody continues competing against himself for the 49ers kicker job. Okay, so let's look at some of the guys to pay attention to. Mac Jones will be fun to watch on Saturday night as he implements, this system. Boy, he's been in the league. This is his 5th year in the league, 5th different system. He seems to really be catching on. So watch him, obviously. The running back situation, I think Corey Kiner, the undrafted rookie from Cincinnati, is going to get a lot of action this preseason. So he's going to be one to watch as I think the door is definitely open for him to be on the 53-man roster. He's going to get a lot of action. And so that's kind of a double-edged sword for the 49ers. Did I say sword? A double-edged sword. Boy, I was really pronouncing that W. A double-edged sword for the 49ers because he's going to play a lot. If he impresses, then there remains that possibility that the 49ers could lose him if they try to just sneak him through to the practice squad. Remember last year, the 49ers had Cody Schrader on their roster as an undrafted rookie, and he did not make the final, the 53-man roster. And the 49ers fully expected to bring him back to the practice squad, but the LA Rams jumped on that, and they claimed him off waivers, and Corey Schrader remains with the Rams to this day. Okay, the wide receiving position, Jordan Watkins, the rookie from Ole Miss, really making strides as a receiver and is definitely putting himself in position to be one of the top 4 receivers when the regular season begins. Another guy to keep an eye on, he didn't play in any of the preseason games last year. This is his 2nd training camp with the 49ers. Tariq Owens, didn't have much as far as a college career, but has a lot of, the size, the measurables, all that stuff. And he's really come on in the last week or so, making a lot of plays on the practice field, including a big catch in Thursday's practice. So Tariq Owens, not a lot of experience, but somebody to keep an eye on during the preseason. And like I said, I wouldn't expect the starting offensive linemen to play in this game. So the focus shifts to the backups, guys like Spencer Burford at left tackle, Austin Pleasance at right tackle. Those guys are trying to lock down backup jobs. And of course, some of the young guys like Drew Moss, undrafted rookie, Connor Colby, who's kind of struggled. And I think kind of is a long shot right now to win a roster spot, but also look at what happens at the center position. Matt Hennessy should get a lot of snaps. 49ers have to figure out who their backup center is, behind Jake Brendel. So those are the spots on the offensive line to watch. At the tight end position, Kittle's going to be a starter. Luke Farrell's going to be the number 2 tight end. What's it going to look like after that? Special teams will go a long way to determining the rest of the tight end depth chart. Looks pretty even to me between Braden Willis, Jake Tonjes, and Ross Dwelly. Now we flip over to the defensive side, and with all the injuries on the defensive line that I talked about, look for the rookies, look for the young guys. Alfred Collins, Michael Williams won't play. CJ West, talked about him on the last video that we did. And if you haven't seen it, DJ Jones, I talked to him about CJ West and what he can do. And his number one advice for CJ West, it was listen to Chris Kocurek, 49ers defensive line coach. So Alfred Collins continues to make strides in practices. Let's see how he carries it over to the game as far as just anchoring in the run. He's going to see, I would think he would see a lot of action in this game as they try to kind of make up for lost time from not participating in the offseason program and just kind of learning the system, learning the techniques that the 49ers teach. Also, Sebastian Valdez, he's always going up against the lower end offensive linemen, and probably be up against the second and third stringers from the Broncos in this particular game. But keep an eye on number 55 in the center of the 49ers defensive line, Sebastian Valdez. The linebacker situation is interesting. D. Winters has had a very good camp, but 2 guys to kind of keep an eye on. I would go with the rookies again. Nick Martin, a player who plays with a high motor, a lot of tenacity. He just needs to learn to play faster in the sense that know what he's doing, know the assignments, and be decisive and go get it. And then Stone Blanton has done some good things too. A undrafted rookie coming in. Those 2 should see a lot of playing time in this game. The cornerback situation will be sorted out here. 49ers know who their top 2 cornerbacks are, the 2 starters. It's going to be Deommodore Lenoir and Renardo Green. After that, it's huge competition on the outside. Trey Brown, Dallas Flowers, and then I don't think he's in competition necessarily for the number 3 cornerback, but Jacob Robinson, a rookie from BYU, has an opportunity to take what he's done on the practice field and carry it over into a game situation. So keep an eye on those 3 guys as they try to lock down that number 3 receiver or cornerback position, because one of those guys is going to be starting some games this season. I think Trey Brown is in the lead for that, but Dallas Flowers also seeing a lot of time. And I should mention Darrell Luter as well. Okay, so I haven't mentioned Upton Stout, but he's somebody that I almost feel like if he doesn't play a lot tonight, that's a good sign for him. But I would think that as a rookie, they just want him to get the reps, want him to get the experience going against another team. But Upton Stout looks like he is in really good position to break camp as the 49ers starting nickelback. Trey Brown started the preseason or started training camp in that spot. But as the 49ers have had the injuries on the outside, they've moved him back outside where I think they see the need as being a little bit more urgent. Also, Chase Lucas is somebody who figures to see some action as the slot cornerback as well. So those are some of the ideas that I have going into this game of what to watch. What are you going to be watching? Drop your things to watch or players to watch in the comments section below. Enjoy the game. However that game takes shape as far as who's out there and who's not out there. But it'll be good to see some of the young guys, just see how I know coaches always say is the game too big for them? Like they want to see how the guys prepare, how they go through warm ups, all those little things. Another thing to keep in mind is one of the first lessons I think that was taught to me about the preseason. I remember the 49ers, it was the year that the San Diego Chargers selected Ryan Leaf with the second pick in that draft. And the first preseason game was against the 49ers. It was a really good 49ers team, veteran defense. And Ryan Leaf going up against, some, if not all, of the 49ers starters in that preseason game, did a really nice job. And, they moved the ball, he completed passes and this and that. And I just remember going up to Tim McDonald after the game, 49ers veteran safety, an all-pro type player, Pro Bowl player. And I said to him, wow, Ryan Leaf looked pretty good. And Tim kind of cocked his head and he goes, yeah, I wouldn't go that far. And I was like, well, why not? I thought he looked good. And he goes, we didn't do anything. So that's the thing that you got to kind of watch these games and take with a grain of salt, because, generally speaking, the teams aren't game planning for the other team. They're working on things. They want to, evaluate, obviously, but most of the evaluations take part in the practice sessions. But, when the regular season starts, that's when, the coaching, that's when the players adapting the game plan to the game situation takes place, because, basically in the NFL, offense and defense, I'd say mostly offense, it's a week-to-week thing. It's game planning specifically for an opponent. So, there might be a quarter of the plays that an offense runs one week that carries over to the next week, with 75% of the playbook being stuff installed for the sole purpose of going up against a specific defense. So anyway, enjoy the game. If you're out there, say hi. I am going to the preseason games, so I should be out there on the field before the game, and enjoy it. And again, tell me what you're thinking heading into this preseason opener, and that is it for now.